The Ganges River. In India, she is called Ganga Mata, Mother Ganga. Like the gentle and holy cow who feeds mankind with her milk, Mother Ganga supplies her life-giving flow to millions of her Indian-born children. The timeless scriptures known as the Veda tell of Ganga as a maidservant of Lord Vishnu, the Creator. Ganga's service is to bathe the good Lord's lotus-like feet, and being thus sanctified, she flows down to the earth as a sacred river to purify the souls of men. It is with such a belief that pilgrims from all sides of the subcontinent make frequent and long journeys to bathe in and worship their mother Ganga. At dusk, they perform and devoutly attend the daily Ganga Puja ceremony, when huge ghee lamps are offered to the river. Pilgrims then proceed on with individual offerings of burning camphor inside tiny leaf barks filled with flowers. The barks are then set afloat. This holy place is known as Haridwar, or the pathway to God. Located 200 kilometers north of New Delhi, Haridwar is the entry to the Himalayan foothills, where holy men have lived for thousands of years. Less than a day's walk uphill, or a 45-minute bus ride, is Rishikesh, a favorite retreat for sages and yogis. Today, countless temples and cultural centers adorn the banks of the Ganges there, and just a few kilometers up is Lakshman Jhula, a famous bridge leading across to the site where in a remote age, Lakshman, the brother of the legendary Lord Ram, sat in meditation. Further in, Ganga takes on the appearance of a mountain stream, winding deep and narrow between the hills. On the only road to the renowned sanctuary of Badrinath and to the snow-capped peaks, buses take pilgrims deep into the foothills to the choicest of holy spots along the river. Meanwhile, braver pilgrims climb the traditional footpath. In order to get a true and lasting impression of the local culture, one must seek a sacred place, such as our destination, this quiet, scenic, and ancient Himalayan village. Located 70 kilometers upstream from Rishikesh, Devaprayag is nestled on the steep, rocky banks of the last two mountain tributaries of the Ganges. On the right, flowing from the sanctuary of Badrinath, the Alakananda, deep and wise. And on the left, the Bhagirathi, rushing down from 4,000 meters in altitude. According to ancient texts, Ganga flows from the heavens. After splashing into 7 streams on the Earth's tallest peaks, It is here at Devaprayag that the dispersed waters of that celestial stream Five minutes down from the bridge, pilgrims are now happily taking a dip in Ganga's holy water. But do they actually immerse themselves in this rapid current? Few actually do so, and most would rather settle for a freezing shower. It is by this challenging staircase that one gets to the temple. After recuperating from the climb, we are now admiring the massive, simple structure. On the left side of the entrance door is this Hindi text. At this holy spot, Lord Ram celebrated his triumphant return from Sri Lanka. This temple shelters Raghunath Ji, which is an affectionate name for Rama. For the past 12 centuries, an unbroken line of Sri Vaishnava priests have been worshipping the deity. On the side, a shrine is dedicated to its founder, the great Shankaracharya, whose statue we are now viewing. One of India's greatest church fathers, Shankaracharya promoted deity worship by establishing in the 9th century shrines all over India. Facing the temple's entrance is the shrine of Garuda Ji, who is Lord Vishnu's bird carrier. As odd as it may sound to the Western mind, God has been described by generations of mystic saints as a human-like person of dazzling beauty, with 4 arms, riding majestically on this royal bird. After paying homage to Garuda, we proceed to the doorway of Lord Vishnu's residence. Lord Vishnu is seen as the same supreme being referred to in the Bible, the Quran, and the Vedic scriptures. Here, standing in his formal and yet endearing posture, God holds the 4 symbols of his supreme glory. The upper right hand holds the discus, by which Vishnu cuts down the pride of rebellious souls. With his divine club here resting at his feet, the Lord relishes his fighting spirit when justice must prevail. In his advent on the earth as King Ram, for instance, Vishnu turned his club into a bow to battle with the 10-headed Ravana. This demon embodied man's lusty desires and finally met his fate for trying to kidnap Sita, Ram's eternal female counterpart. With the conch shell in his upper left hand, Vishnu proclaims the victory of those faithful to his word and will. 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna blew this divine conch shell before speaking the triumphant wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita to his devoted friend Arjuna.
My dear Arjuna, always think of me and fight for true religion.
In Vishnu's fourth hand, finally, is the lotus, which God uses not against any demon, but to bless his devotees and to pierce their hearts with yearning love. Sacred texts reveal the kingdom of God as the abode where souls are continuously engrossed in loving service to Krishna. Krishna's beauty puts even the blue lotus to shame. In that paradise, every word is a song, every step a dance, every act is a game. The Lord's only weapon is his lotus-like flute, whose sound enchants all pure hearts in a mystical romance. Back outside, we hear Sanskrit prayers echoing from the temple courtyard to the whole village. 1,000 different names of Vishnu are thus chanted every morning. On the straight cliff behind the temple clings a banyan tree with roots hanging way down. Good spot for a hermitage, if you don't mind neighbors like these. When they start swinging, the quiet hermit walks away, for he's seen only too often the following scene. Obviously, these subhumans do not realize the sanctity of the place. In fact, the temple site has a history that goes back thousands of years to Puranic ages. Here stood the great Bali Maharaj's palace, where Lord Vishnu appeared as a dwarf Brahmin, Vamanadev. He requested from the king only as much land as he could cover with his 3 little steps. Today, of course, no trace of the palace is to be found here, but in the cliff right behind the temple is a small cave called Vamana Gupa. According to an ancient scripture, the Skanda Purana, this cave marks the exact spot where Vamana the dwarf grew into a giant and conquered the king's whole domain with only 3 footsteps. Above the entrance, this old Sanskrit inscription relates Vamana's story. And as we step inside, Vishnu's image is there to greet us with his eternal, loving smile. Devaprayag's main market street isn't what you'd call a bustling area. There is a stationery store, a general store, a cloth merchant, a tailor, a barber, a baker, and of course, varieties of grains, beans, nuts, and fresh vegetables are available. Sorry, but you will not find meat or fish merchants in town. In fact, the killing of animals for food is unacceptable to these people. Mr. Bull and family sit peacefully in the market area where they socialize. In Indian culture, milk is not the cow's only gift to human beings. Cow dung is carefully collected and formed into patties, which are then stuck on walls to dry. Once dry, the dung is a very economical fuel, ideal for cooking and for heating. At home, the cow is part of the family. The right to milk her is only earned by caring for her up to her natural death. In his youth, Krishna himself was a cowherd boy, and his picture hangs in every barn in town. No matter how small the dwelling, every other household keeps a cow or two. She is India's nursing mother. And it is only natural, these people say, to remember God when you live in accordance with His design, performing every act as an offering.
सीताराम सज प्यारे तू सीताराम 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 सज प्यारे तू सीताराम पति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 सज प्यारे तू सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण.
After this informal singing session with the Dhyani family, we sit down with Mrs. Dhyani for a short talk. Where is Mr. Dhyani?
पति बद्रीनाथ में हैं और यात्रियों को.
My husband went to Badrinath, where he acts as a guide. He shows pilgrims around all summer there and keeps a house as an ashram to host them. And what does the river Ganges mean to you?
गंगा माई हमारी.
Ganga is our mother. Every morning we bow to her before washing and taking our bath. Then we burn incense or a ghee lamp, and after filling our pots, we drink her water. major challenge foreigners have to meet in Devaprayag is that not one person understands English. At least, that's what we thought, until we met the school teacher, who's also the most cordial man in town, with his blissful family. Mr. Jai Prakash Pandey was only too glad to invite us one evening for what he calls bhajan time.
Namaste. Go, you play. Now we start our bhajan. First of all, I will sing a few lines. देख के तू पिंजरे के पंछी काहे नीर बहाए हम सब हैं इस जग में कैदी ये सोच समझ ले भजन बिना चैन न आए राम ओ बोलो राम 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 राधे श्याम 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 सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम 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 मोह माया की आस तो
What were these songs you were just singing with your friend?
These are the versions, or say holy songs, which are sung at Devaprayag. Most of the people here are Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Sri Raghunath Ji is our deity. He is Lord Sri Vishnu himself, and we worship him in a grand manner with holy food, songs and spiritual preachings. Sri Raghunath Ji is life and soul of Devaprayag. Without Sri Raghunath Ji, there is no Devaprayag.
Making our way through the town's narrow lanes, we're in search of a small Shiva temple. Shiva personifies the power of procreation, which is revered in India in the form of a huge male organ called a linga. It is usually made of stone, and a ritual is performed by first pouring water on it and then applying a red dye called kumkum. Grains of rice are then placed while chanting auspicious mantras. At last, a ghee lamp is offered in this circular motion. Here is a beautiful painting of Lord Shiva in meditation. Shiva is also seen in the company of his consort Durga Devi, who is the personal form of Mother Nature. A separate temple is dedicated to Durga just outside of town. A helpful outlook concerning the Hindu culture is that gods and goddesses like Shiva and Durga are but different expansions of the same Godhead. The faithful offer their respects to demigods, angels and saints, but it is the one God they worship. They see him in nature, in a plant, and in the hearts of all beings. But in reality, these Hindus are monotheistic. The men often wear this conspicuous tuft of long hair on the backs of their heads. Like flags, these announce that I am the Lord's servant. More devout followers, priests and mystics, never fail to mark their foreheads each morning with various clays called tilak. The V mark stands for Vishnu, designating one's body as the Lord's temple.
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Baditramadjanmana Sorasena Ramanchakam Pasutaranga Bhaju Bande Gurasi Charanarabindam.
Once ablutions and the marking ritual have been completed, meditation begins. It is called Japa Yoga. Mantras are uttered aloud or mentally, and the fingers keep account on beads. A true disciple must vow to chant a fixed daily number of mantras. A mantra is one or more potent syllables which combine to arouse the chanter's spirit to God consciousness. Mantras are names of God to be called upon. From the one syllable Om to the 16 names of the Hare Krishna chant, from an incantation for power to a selfless prayer of devotion, there exists a wide variety of mantras according to one's particular desire. Such is Vishnu's liberal design. So, what is that vivid and lasting impression one is likely to retain after a visit to Devaprayag? Is it of peace and quiet? Is it of the holiness or the colorful rural scenes? Perhaps all these things. And yet, there is something else. Notice these mules climbing down the rocky slope. They are carrying empty cans to the river. The cans are filled, reloaded, and carried back up laboriously. Let's think a moment how many days, months, years, centuries, how many millennia have these very same scenes been reenacted? For how many seasons has this dressing style been in vogue? How many families has this house sheltered? For how many ages has this land been tilled? For how many generations has this method of construction been passed on? Indeed, very little seems to have changed in and around Devaprayag since man first came here. Content with basic needs, these people are not about to stray from their ancestors' motto, plain living and high thinking. Rather than moving to the city today, they are building a tomorrow with the soil and the stone of yesterday. Scattered on hillsides all about the Himalayan village, hamlets and remote dwellings appear as though suspended in time. Indeed, our lasting impression of Devaprayag must be one of timelessness. What else? We are being invited to a new ritual. New? Yes, new to them. The 20th century has now also begun to make a lasting impression on our hosts. Is it doom or a boon? Can modern technology become useful to these simple people? Maybe. Today, for example, the great epic of Lord Ram is on television. May then such new facilities only serve the noble spirit which has kept alive in this valley one of the most ancient cultures, a timeless village.